Myra had made several marbled papers. Back when I first came over here, it was one of the ways that we passed the time with making marbled paper. And she has about 1,000 different sheets, but one of the things I enjoy doing with a marbled paper is working on them in Gimp and turning them into like an enhanced, I use the term an enhanced marbled paper because it adds a 3D effect to it. We'll go through and we'll look at a couple of these marbles here. The patterns come out really, really nice, and she got into this to a point that she could make them to look like they belong together. Like this one here is actually paired up with that one. It's the same basic look. One could be the front of a book and one the back as the marbled paper inside. You notice here these are similar, not exact, but they're similar enough that they could be used. But I want to find an image here that I think would enhance well. I think I'm going to jump down here and look at them a little bit faster. I saw one that kind of drew my attention earlier. Yeah, this one here, both of these look like they would, actually any of them will do it well, but some are a little better. That might be a nice one to play with. So we'll open that with the Gimp image editor. Now these are all big enough. I'm going to reduce them just for the sake of the video, but these are all printable size papers, 8.5 by 11. But it takes a little longer to deal with them when you are doing image work on them. And because I'm making a video, I don't want to sit here and let this thing click away. So we're going to scale it. First, let's rotate it. Image, let's transform and rotate 90 degrees. And let's see, I can do the top. Scale the image so the width is 1280. So now we've got a 1280 width. That's the same size as what my video screen is. And I want to crop out an area that will be 1280 by 720. See, I've got fixed. You have it clicked at fixed. 1280 by 720, and when I click in the middle, it will make a area to cut to 1280 by 720. Now I've selected that area. I can go to the image and crop the selection. So if you look up here on top, it's 1278. Well, let me redo that. Image, scale image. We'll disconnect them. When I selected, I was off by a couple pixels, but that's okay. Scale. Okay, now let's select none. Now always make a couple layers so you don't mess up your original. And then set it on top of a blank layer. And that will let you erase it. You can't erase it. If it's got the black letters here, it's a single layer and nothing can be erased. I've done this before, but I'll show it again here. If I go to erase it, and we'll pick a paintbrush here. There's a paintbrush. If I go to erase it, and it's not a transparent letter, I didn't put a transparent layer on it, it won't erase. It'll leave a background the same color as that background right there, black. But once you Control Z to erase what I just did there, but once you add that transparent layer to it, then it turns transparent when you erase it. Now you can put a transparent layer. I can put a transparent layer on these. See, because I duplicated them when they didn't have a transparent layer, the duplication carries the same trait. Now both of those will erase. You can take this and erase it. And again, Control Z puts everything back, erases what you just did. So let's get rid of both of them. And we'll raise the size of this image up a little bit. And let's make another layer of this and see what I can do if I want to select different colors out of there. So I'm going to try to get more of a contrast and see if that'll help me pick the layers out. It may or may not. It may or may not. I'm gonna fold it right now and see what it does. I just took it and I turned the color. Did I turn it to gray or I desaturate it? There's a big difference to desaturate and color to gray. Desaturate. Now I can take that and take that layer and use curves on it, and it will separate. It'll make the dark dark and the light light. I don't really like the way that is looking. I don't like that. I think what I'm going to do is cancel that out, and we'll work with the contrast first. Brightness and contrast. We'll increase the contrast in it and lower the brightness. Now I think the curves would do a little bit more. Another thing could be done. This is kind of cheating, but it works. Nothing's cheating, it works, isn't it? I can take that layer right there and say I want to remove all the white elements of that layer. Color to alpha, and all the white has been removed from that. But that layer does have dark in it. If I put a pure white under it to show that. If I paint a pure white at the bottom, you can see that layer. Now if I duplicate that layer, you see I've made a contrast in a little bit different way than what was done before. And this is that's pretty effective actually. Let's slide that up and merge that down. Now we'll take it and fool the brightness and contrast or through the curves and see what we can do. Get the darker and the lighter. Now it's got a nice contrast to it. It makes it a little easier to separate out some of the items in it. So let's select all of this light color in here. We don't want any feathering. We'll give a small threshold. If you notice over here, it's addition. If I do this, I can only select one thing at a time. If I do that, I can do multiple selections at once. You select and you drag your mouse a little and it makes it fill in. If you drag it too far, it gets into other areas. We'll just do a few of these. And select these And although I'm selecting on this layer, I'm going to use that selection on another layer. Now we'll take our selection, we'll grow it by 1, to grow it by 2, and then shrink it. What I did by growing by 1 is all those little stray pixels in there. It picked up most of the stray pixels and made them into one unit, one selection. Now when I back up, now I've still got some in here. Let's see if we can zoom in on it and I can show you what I'm talking about. If I increase it by 1 more, I'll pick up some of these little places here. So let's do that selection. We'll grow it by 1 more. See, it picked up more and blended it into the background. Let's go select and we'll do 1 more. Grow 1 more. Now let's take that selection and shrink it back again. And it won't pop these back up. They won't come back visible again. So we'll shrink the selection by 4. And now we'll back off on that drawing and look at it and see what it's done. It actually has done pretty good. It's done a pretty good job. I'm going to mark them. I'm going to try to do more, but I want to mark them first because I like how it come out so far. So I can put a layer on top of that and do it. I'm going to paint all of our selected layer black for the time being. Then I'm going to turn the black off. Okay, there it's off. I did that because I want to try some more selections in here, but if it doesn't work right and I don't like the way it comes out, I don't want to lose what I've already got. I was on the wrong layer. It says on that layer up on top. I want to go on that layer and see if I can select more. See, by dragging it, I can pick up some of those strays in there. This is more to show that you can go back and do this even when you're almost done, because for what I want to do, this is going to be fine right now. That come out to be a little larger than what I wanted. I didn't want that area inside of there, the dark, but I'm going to see what I can do about straightening that up. Okay, I may delete all that and I'm going to repaint it black in that layer. I've got to make that a visible layer and then I can paint it black. Now to get rid of this, we're going to do select none. And I'm going to take this little bit of black in here, that dark looking area, and select it separately. Again, this is almost for nothing more than to show how something can be cleaned up. Now I can actually separate that white from that black up on top by going like this right here. And if I hit delete, I've cleaned that spot up. Select none. Okay, here are these areas that I've just selected. Now I can turn them all into shadows by making a double area making a double layer. We're going to take this layer and blur it. Tools, blur, Gaussian blur. There's a little bit of a blur. We're going to take this and offset it a little bit. Put it back to full screen. I mean to the full image size. Select. Remember, that just selects an area. This selects all. When it select all, go to this layer that's blurred, and we're going to delete everything but the shadow part. Now that's the shadows. So if I put this image back in, look what happened there. It put a shadow behind everything that was on there. How you can do that with any of the layers you want to do it with. I'll see if I can raise this brown up. That's a nice start. I'm going to keep that for a start. We're going to do a new from visible and keep it up there. Now let's go back here and see what we can do about selecting another area. Go back here and see if I can select some of that brown. We'll select all the brown. We'll give it a bigger threshold and see what happens here. There's all the brown. We'll take that selection and again we'll make it grow by, let's make it grow by 4. And then we'll select and decrease it by 4. Now you saw what happened. All the little pieces in the middle disappeared. It joined those extra pixels. Now we'll do the same thing with this layer as what we did with the other one. We'll go up here, make a brand new layer. We'll paint them black. We'll double that layer. Select none. You have to select none whenever you put a blur on. Otherwise, if you don't select none, the blur will not leave the selected area. It'll stay right in there and it will do almost nothing. It will blur the inside that area, not on the outside of the area. So there's the blur. And this time we can look at it and see ourselves offset it. Say, well, how far are we going to offset it? Let's set that one, offset that one up pretty good. Okay, we'll do that to image size. Go back up here. Select the original. There's the original. There's the blur. We're going up here and select the original. And we're going to take and subtract the original from the blur. Now we have that blur. We can put that on top of our visible. And it puts everything with a little bit. It puts it all with a shadow. Or we can put it back this way, or not that way, this way. And there we're not using our visible layer right now, we're using our 2 shadow layers. These are the 2 shadowed layers right here. And if you don't want to change them, you can actually merge them together. And there's all your shadows at once. Once you have all the shadows, or you picked out the shadows you want to use in there, then you can take these, you can take this background and you can even play with it. You can say, well, I'm going to change my color a little bit. Let's play with the hue and saturation in there. And the shadows stay right into anything you're working with. So you can totally change that appearance very, very easily. Let's make that lightness and let's make it darker. Oh, let's take away the light and make it darker and increase some saturation to it. Okay, now we'll do that again, but we'll work only with the green, effect. And now these are so different, this green here is so different that it can be easily selected out if you go up here and make a new layer, a new from visible. You say, geez, I want to get all that green in there. Very easy to get all the green now. Now that area is selected. We're going to try something a little bit different here and see if I can't add a shadow. Add a light on this side and a little bit of shadow to the bottom part. So what we'll do, make a new layer. We're going to do one in white. We're going to make a new layer and do it in black. Now we're going to take this black layer, duplicate it, select none so we can move it and slide it around, and let's take and move it up a little bit. We'll do that. Let's look at it so we can see what we're doing with it and move it up. Now if you see what we're leaving, see this edge down here? The edge at the bottom? That's going to be black, because what we're going to do is select all of this, select all of them, let's make them back to image size, and we're going to subtract that from that bottom layer. I see, now these have a black edge. If you turn it off, you can see that black edge on it. Now we'll take that black edge and we'll blur it a little. Put a Gaussian blur to it. And make it a little bit, add a little bit of opacity to it. Now you've added that 3D looking image to the bottom of it. If we zoom in on one, see you've got that 3D looking shadow at the bottom of it. Now we do the same thing with a white. Except the white, we duplicate it, and we take the white and we'll slide it down. That will leave the white edge up on top. So since this one is going to be the pattern, this is what we're going to cut with. We'll take it and slide it down. See how far we want to slide it down. That's good to cut it out. And see here, there's the one on top. So what we're going to do is take this, it's the image size. What we're going to do here is select this one, select everything there, and we're going to cut it from that one on top. And now we've got that white edge up on top. And let's give it a little bit of a blur. They actually even look neat without a blur. You don't need a blur. It's what your taste is, what you want to do. But I had an idea in my mind I wanted to get in. So there, now we've got the top, and there's the bottom. So you see there's a white shine up on the top, and there's a dark down at the bottom. And that's a pretty wild effect from what was originally a marble. And it's not just kind of neat, what's really neat is if you want, I'm going to take first and save this, so I new from visible. And our power goes out here sometimes. I'm going to save this whole thing as a where's my document. I'll save that whole thing as a Gimp file. See, that extension is XCF. That's a Gimp extension. When you actually save it and use it, you want it to be a JPEG or a. You usually want to use a JPEG or a ping image. Now this here, if I want to, this can actually be saved as a paintbrush. I think it's a little large to save as a paintbrush, but we'll give it a shot. Select all. I don't remember what size brushes you can save. Edit copy. We'll paste it as an image. Paste as a new image. Oh, look what I did. Oh my God. Every once in a while I do stuff like that. There's the layer I want to keep. Edit copy. Paste as a new image. That's and then I could take and select that whole image. Select. First, I want to take that image and turn it into a grayscale. Then I can select it all, copy it, and paste it as a new paintbrush. And although I have no idea where or if or when I'll ever use it, it's still a fun thing. And that can be used as a paintbrush then. A new layer. Take that selection and shrink it. And it looks terrible, but at least it shows an idea. What if I change the colors to it? I should never have did that paintbrush stuff in there. Oh well, I had nothing really in mind anyway. We got to show a little bit of the shadows. Got to play a little. And I'm going to put a name on this and call it a video. This is going to be enhancing. Image effects used on marble paper. And we'll select all. We'll change this type. I'm bored of that type. I've got to get some from Google, I think. Okay. We'll use image effects used on marble papers. And I guess that's a pretty ugly color. No matter what, that's going to look like an ugly color. Let me see if I can use something a little more that might fit the color scheme. What do you think? I don't know. Select it all, increase the size. Slide it to the middle. Turn it into a new layer. Duplicate that layer. And we'll choose the bottom one. We choose everything on the bottom. We'll select it and grow it by 4 and paint it black. Now we can merge this down. Merge down. We'll select it all again. Get rid of that one. That one there's not important anymore. Matter of fact, we'll get rid of that because we can use that space. And we'll select the background and then invert it. The reason for selecting the background and inverting it is you can get the inside of the, like the G, the inside of the A, the inside. And if you don't do that, you're not going to get those insides. So you want all the transparent, then you're going to invert it. And then on this layer here, we'll do instead of doing I always do black, but you don't have to do black. I can pick that color and pick a real dark shade of it. Now it's select none because again you can't move a layer. If it's selected, it's gonna have it's not gonna look right. Now let's slide this down. Make it a little transparent. We'll make it to image size. Add a little more opacity to it. And there you go. That'll do it. Like every time I say that'll do it, then I poke around a little bit more. That'll do it. Except let's keep that on there, and we'll do a little border on it. Oh, look what I did. I left my selection on where it was fixed to go 1280 by 720. You will do that. You'll do it yourself. So now if I go back and select deselect, I want to select none, and I'll go back and pick this area out here. Good. I'm going to take and paint it all. Shrink it. Shrink it by any number you want. And so it doesn't sound how much do that. Okay. Good. Good. Let's take that and merge it down. I think I'm going to put a little star somewhere. Okay, so if I take that and I slide it up and offset it, or put it down, offset it, no, put it up and offset it. And we'll do that to image size. We'll go up here and see where that right there, where the R is on top. Let's get rid of that. And we'll do a little star down here at the bottom. Let me do another layer. And we'll just write the word Gimp in there. In red letters. Do something gaudy, right? Okay. I'll give it a little bit of a tilt. Rotate. And we'll put it to the image size. Layer to image size. And underneath it we'll put a yellow star. And we'll select from path, and we'll paint that yellow. We'll take that and merge it down. That makes them both fit together. And we can take that whole thing and slide it behind the big letters. There it is. Setting underneath, the shadows drop down on it, and we can take this and let's see if we can I'll put another layer in because I want to put a border on that. I love little borders and little, I just enjoy to do that. We'll select, invert, make that star 4 pixels bigger. And we will just put a black border on it this time. So we want to put a layer underneath that star and paint it black. And there you go. Now we'll export this as image, image effects, image effects used on marbled paper. Gimp tutorial. I suppose a Gimp tutorial should be in the front. Yes. That's what I'll call my video. Gimp tutorial image effects used on marble paper.jpg. Look at that. It's all over but the posting. Now we stop the video.